And good Saturday morning. It is the 21st of October, 2023. And welcome to the Jonathan Crompton Show here on the Tuscola Football Network, Enet Sports, YouTube, Twitter, I don't know, all these other places that are way out of my pay grade. And welcome, Jonathan.
Thank
and good morning, Chuck, from up in Michigan. I almost said Pennsylvania.
That's okay.
Yeah, Chuck's up there at a wedding, and they got Michigan State, and Chuck's the only Michigan fan in his family up there right now, and he is creating havoc and chaos in Michigan.
Love it. Hey, it's just that little rivalry up here in this state. You know, nothing big like down in the South, Southern football. That's what I'm telling them. I said, you guys got that little old tiny rivalry, so we'll watch it tonight.
Well, anyway, welcome everyone. Before we get going, it's amazing to me the comments that I get everywhere I go. Last night at the ball game, for all you that took the time to come by and say that you enjoy this, and thank you. We got folks on their morning runs that are changing their schedule to watch. So thank you to everyone, regardless of where you are. It's pretty special where we've been with this. But anyway, big ball game last night. Yeah, I see you. What are you drinking?
It's not Orchard coffee, and it doesn't taste good because it's made with that Flint water.
Oh,
I'm just saying, you know.
I've got mine. I got you. I got it held down for you, Chuck.
Appreciate it. Good job.
so great. A big ball game last night, Smoky Mountain. Just first of all, to the people from Tuscola, Waynesville, and wherever, thank you. What a crowd on the visitor side last night. Did we not travel well, Coach?
Oh yeah, and especially our student section.
The band,
the band
the
showed up.
cheerleaders.
That was just it was really cool to see and hear. I was doing a lot of things out during the game, but at a certain point when you know it's over, you kind of pay attention a little more. Our student section last night was awesome. After the game, seeing our students run down to the sideline to one specific player in support of what he emotionally was going through. So that was special. That's why I honestly say we've got the best fans around. And I was you can see differences in places. Say it that way. There are a few others that would be similar when it comes to fans and coaches supporting like we do, but not many when it comes to that. So that was fun to see. I mean, parents, they're just not their kids going out of their way to congratulate other kids and go hug each other and that type of stuff. I mean, students coming out there and support. So that was really fun to see after the game. So thank you guys.
Yeah, big game, 34-21. You guys, you did things that you ran the ball when you wanted to run the ball.
Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry, it just hit me. One other thank you it goes out to part of our breakfast club. Side note, best breakfast club around, hands down. Jody Ward, he's our volleyball coach. He came and traveled with us to help us in case of inclement weather, just for footballs. Yeah, he didn't have to be there. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. That's what we have going on here. So Jody, thank you. Helped in more ways than he can know last night.
Well, I do want to interject here. If you look behind you two, the reason why, particularly when I talk about Jonathan, I don't say his name. I say 8. What's 8 doing? What's 8 thinking? So that's what, just reference and respect to his number 8. But I guess he got a new name last night, called by the announcer at Smoky.
I did.
Yeah.
Have you ever been called Johnny
No.
Well, I tell you what, and they never called the names out for the players that made plays for Tuscola. Don't you have names for those players?
That once again, that's the stuff that I zone out during the game, so I don't have an answer for that.
Well, I tell you what, listen to this. You either have class or you don't. Smoky Mountain, you don't. Shame on you. Shame on you. I thought Dickie Brinley, or is it Ricky? I thought Dickie Brinley, if we're going to make up names here, had more class than that. That's disappointing to me. I want to bring that right.
Hey, all good. All good. We're going to have a fun show today. All good.
All right.
So
all good.
It must be that water up in Flint today. It's the water in Flint.
I think it is.
But anyway, a really good football game. You were able to run the ball when you wanted to run the ball.
Yeah.
Once we got over the emotional part, and you can tell with a quarterback. I could always tell with you when you throw the first 2 or 3 and they're high, and you don't normally throw the football high. That's just adrenaline and emotion. And once Jed calmed down a little bit, and he had a heck of a lot going on last night.
Oh, yeah.
Man, threw the ball well. We ran the ball well. Just took the clock off when you wanted to take the clock off last night. Defensively, made plays when we needed to make plays. Still, we're going to get better on the 3rd and longs, and I know that you get tired of me saying that, but that's a thing we're going to get better at as this thing progresses. Special teams. I know on the one long kickoff run when we caught them from behind, but that's where the kid dropped the ball, and everybody. That's just kind of a scramble thing. But Lord have mercy. Was our special teams, are they getting so much better? Christopher Wells doing a great job kicking and punting, Chuck, and we'll talk about that punt in the 3rd quarter.
We had 2
that flipped the field.
We had 2 really clutch punts last night.
And Chuck, I'm going to turn over our holder, Mr. Jonas Howard. Great job of holding on the kicking. And I'll let you talk about our long snapper, because he is like, you have adopted him.
Well, I like a kid that will find a way to get on the field. And, a lot of struggles on the offensive side early in the season is because your special teams, your snapper, your holder's there. But if you can't snap it back there, that's where everything begins. And here comes a kid and says, I'll do it. And so, Houston McCracken's working with them. All of a sudden, you got a big time snapper on your hand. He's snapping the ball. You got Jonas Howard holding, and you got Christopher Wells kicking. All of a sudden, things are starting to click just with those 3. And they're all juniors.
Yeah, and that helps.
Say his name. We had an argument this morning.
Cannon Gentry.
No, Cannon
Gentry.
See, there's our argument. But anyway,
in all honesty, though, they're working. All hard. Of them have played tremendously. Cannon's played in 3 games as a long snapper, and we'll just snapper in general because of PAT field goals. To be kind of thrust in that role due to injuries. I mean, we lost our long snapper 6 plays into the season, and Bryson Haynes. So, those things obviously happen during the season, but for Cannon to be there, never complain, always trying to find a way to get on the field, right? Those things, and then just out of the blue, that happening, that says a lot about our team and the mindset of our kids on our team. They want to play for each other, and he's owned it, he's embraced it, and he's done a damn good job of it. I mean, honestly. So that's fun for me to be able to see, fun for our staff to be able to see that the kids want to get on the field in any way possible. And then now he's got a specific role that, during practice, it's not hard to find a kicking ball because, by God, he's got the whole bag.
That's what it's all about.
Which is good because he's snapping constantly all day. That's what's fun to see is he's working at it. It's not just he takes it serious. And Christopher at Wells, they're essentially over there, two peas in a pod. Getting better with each other, getting more trust with each other. That's fun to see.
And that's a big part of the game. But I tell you, you can't say enough good things about the offensive line last night.
Yep.
You can't say enough things about the defensive line last night. Up front, I think we dominated the game, and those kids took over.
Yep.
And that was you kind of wish this was the end of June, 1st of July.
Well, the thing that people don't realize is, guys, we're finally healthy, or healthy is what you're going to be this part of the year, but getting players back from injuries. The past 3 weeks have been the first 3 weeks we've had our full starting D-line together, and these past 3 games have been the first 3 games we've had the same offensive line play all year together. So we're getting healthy-ish, or I'll say it that way, for this part of the season. And it makes it a lot easier from the coaching side to not have to be as raw to get the guys ready to play, if that makes sense. Like, they're at this point in the season, if we got to continue to do that, that's not a good thing. And I promise you, I don't have to do that at this point, which is very encouraging for our team and the future.
Let me, Chuck. Let me kind of throw something out here, and I want your input as through this question. I think one of the things that impressed me was coming off of last week and then turning around and playing a really good opponent.
Well, and a good opponent on their senior night with
all the other things involved is hard to do. On a normal day, it's hard to do.
Yep.
And Chuck, I sent Jonathan a text. I was in Tennessee trying to buy some vehicles, and I sent Jonathan a text sometime yesterday morning because it was raining, and I said, please tell me that the game is going to be postponed until Saturday or Monday, because I wanted them to have another day to kind of get over last Friday night. And he just texted me back very curtly, we're playing. And that was it. And the weather ended up being fine. But I thought our kids responded well to coming off just an emotional game that again, if you're not involved, and the people that here with us, they're involved, they understand, to turn right back around and perform the way they did last night, to me, shows a lot of growth in your program, in your kids, and with your coaching staff, as they're learning your philosophy too.
Yeah, well, the cool part was we're sitting there before before I go talk to the team, 10 minutes ish left before the game, and Coach Brooks walks up. That was really cool to just come up and say hey and good luck, and came to the game last week and was in the press box. And I've told him, don't ever hesitate. Please don't ever hesitate to come around. The door's open. I don't care what we're doing. We'll stop.
The field is named
exactly
Coach Brooks Field.
But it was cool to see him at a road game.
Yeah.
And he was 100% right. He goes, win or lose last week, this is the toughest week. And we all knew that going in. The good thing is I've got to play in that game and understand the next week. So I'm saying all that to say, one, it was really cool to see him, especially for us to be able to see him there, and thankful for him and his wife to come support us on a road game when they don't have to. So that was really cool. The coaching staff was fired up for that. But then our players have bought into what we told them all week, and it's over. And no one knew about it. We've got other things we have to take care of on the football field, and it starts, this week again. And they bought into it, had a really good week of practice. Weather was not great on Monday, so we had it, just like everybody else, though. We were inside the gym. So there's a day less of practice. They didn't waver. That's the good part. I'm hard on them in that way, mentally, of, hey, when Monday comes, that last week's over. Win, lose, or draw, it's over. We're moving on. And they've done a really, really, really good job all year, but especially the past couple weeks of just dropping it, moving on, focusing on the task at hand. And I think this week, and we talked about this on the way home last night, from a coaching standpoint, this was our best game of communication. And we'll get into the game here in just a minute of details, and I'll go over that then. But just overall, from the guys in the box all the way down, communicating on both sides of the ball and special teams of situational football. It's yes, I'm going to make the final call because it can be a conversation, and I've been a part of places that you can't. But that a little different because it's in pro ball, and it's not as fun when not everybody has a voice. Our guys last night, I'm telling you, that was the best job of communicating from the coaching staff standpoint with each other about certain plays to call, certain stunts to call for defense. When are we going to punt? Who are we going to kick off to? Those things. It just all came together.
Well, it is ironic that the tide has turned, and this is all part of the building process that you since your arrival. And I would have to say that at least your last 2 weeks, if not the last 3 weeks, you've played your best football, and that's contributed to those kids.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because I guess this can be a little segue kind of into the game. I script the first 10 plays of the game on purpose. One, because I'm predicting in my head all week, and our coaching staff, I mean, we'll start with it today for next week, about where we think they're going to go if we do this formation and this motion, this personnel, all that. And the fifth play of the game was in a certain personnel. Had an extra lineman in, 2 tight ends. Just to get a run play, I just want to see how they were going to react to it, see if they were going to crowd the box or not. And like on my game plan sheet, I've got personnel in parentheses of this formation and play can be ran out of, however many different personnels. I was like, all right, well, we're going to run out of this personnel like in the moment. And they didn't adjust to it. So I was like, okay, stay in. They didn't adjust to it. The thing that I find enjoyable and our staff finds enjoyable is, you know how many plays we repped out of that personnel this week of practice? Our kids have bought into the system.
Right.
Okay. Honestly, have bought into the system. So for a majority of the game, we had one wide receiver in the game last night. And I was being funny. I said, guys, after the game, I was like, guys, to the whole team, did anybody, and I raised my hand and said, including me, expect we were going to be in that personnel on most of the games? I sure as crap didn't. My plan was to spread them out and see how they're going to react to quarterback run. And that's what I'm getting at, that is credit to our kids understanding our system, buying into what we do, trusting each other, and communicating with each other to do things we know, but we hadn't technically practiced that week because that was really our game plan 3 weeks ago. That was what was fun to see last night because we were joking on the headset. I was like, guys, we're going to stay as personnel. They didn't adjust. Let's ride with it. If the old cliche, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't leave a table on a heater. You know what I mean? And so the rest of that second drive, we stayed that personnel the whole time. And then started staying with it. And our sixth lineman, Brian Michua, comes in, number 57, and goes, he knows the plays and he knows what we're doing. But we hadn't practiced that personnel extensively in 2 weeks because we didn't think we were going to do that. And he came in, and I'm talking about he played a hell of a game last night. Honestly, he gets 0 statistics because he played offensive line like tight end. But by God, he set the edge. He blocked his butt off, and he gave us running lanes that would not have been there if he wasn't in the game. And that was something that I did not expect us to go into the game doing. That's what's fun for me, to see our kids on the whim go, oh, all right, cool. There's nothing different. Let's go with it. So that's it's just enjoyable to see the kids understand what we're doing, what we're wanting, but doing it for each other.
And
Before we get into the meat and potatoes, let's not forget our sponsor.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, Jonathan's drinking some Orchard coffee. That's Grammy approved Orchard coffee.
It is.
And if it's Grammy approved,
then it's okay.
Then it's pretty darn good. Our friends up the hill here at Sutton and Sons, and I took a tour there Monday morning, as I said on one of our shows this week on Tuesday. I want that pinball machine. I want to bring it down here to the office, and then I won't get anything done. But I want the pinball machine. And then here at Crompton's Auto Mart, CromptonAuto.com, we got a lot full of really good stuff. If you want Jeep Wranglers, I got it. If you want trucks, I got it. If you want 4-cylinders, if you want SUVs, I don't care about your credit. Come see us, CromptonAuto.com. And we'll come back to the sponsors a couple more times during the show. But thank you for reminding me that, Chuck.
Well, I didn't want to get 20 minutes because I'm going to ask this question from Jonathan, and it's pretty much the nuts and bolts of the whole night. Jonathan leading, it was an emotional night, obviously. It was kicked up, largely because of the return of Jed West and Bo West, but Jed West particularly. So that you knew there was going to be great emotion.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can get away from players and it can ruin a game. How did you prepare your team all week long for that Friday night emotion?
Honestly,
yeah,
a normal week, and let them know, and I let our staff know that I've been a part of that situation.
You were that kid,
and so I was, and I don't say this being like, oh, I'm the only one that, but like on our staff, I'm the only one that knows what he was feeling because I've been that same individual. So the reality is, the best way to do it is go about normal week, but like I told him, I told our team, and I told our staff, my job is to protect our team. My job, emotionally, physically, all that. And that's my job. I would not put him in a situation to not be successful last night. And I'm thankful that he trusts me. He talks to me. He communicates with me about what he's feeling. And I told him, even again before we left on the bus, and said, man, anything that comes up. I said, if you look at our top 10, we're doing certain things on purpose. Get the ball out of your hands. Let's just get in the flow. It's going to be different. But the positive of it, if you got 80 kids in that locker room, that would die for you.
Right.
And our student section showed that last night too. That's what was fun.
Yeah. You
find out who your real friends are in life, and you would never know he's not been at Tuscola since he was 10 years old. They bought into him and his family, and the other way around. So that's kind of what it was. And like I told him right before we left the locker room to go, so guys, told him at halftime too, this is an emotional game. Last week, same thing. Ride the wave. That's the fun part. But let me take the brunt of the emotion for you, and you just go play ball. Be a kid. Let me do the hard part. You go be a kid, play the game, have emotions, but don't get too high, don't get too low, and everything will take care of itself.
It translated onto the field because the young lad had 222 yards passing. He had 84 yards rushing, so he had another 300-plus night. And total. You had Gavin Langley rushing for 134.
Let me stop you right there before you go on to the next. I want to take number 7. I'll Gavin.
Mm-hmm.
If you were not at the game, understand that one of the things that you look for in somebody that's going to run between the tackles is put your cleat in the ground and go frontwards.
North and south.
And this young man put his cleat in the ground and he dominated. Our offensive line was spectacular. But yards after, what do you call it? Yards after contact, he went frontwards. Yep. He was not going to be denied. And I was so proud of him. And his pass protection off the edge in what you do was what your running backs were spectacular in pass protection last night.
Yeah.
But I just can't say enough good things about Gavin because
when he came out to get a breather, Cooper Williamson, and we don't
Yeah.
miss it. Here's the
Coop-
thing, we don't miss a beat when Coop goes in.
no,
And
you do not.
That's the good part is, and
You know-
that's where I've talked to Cooper about it. Same thing I just said. Never leave the table on a heater. So Gavin was playing well, and there's nothing against, because I'm going to tell you, we trust Cooper with everything we do offensively in the run and pass game, and he's also going to be damn good in this system. I promise you.
Yeah.
But the good thing is they support each other at tailback.
Yeah.
They do.
We're
They're both back next year.
Yeah.
we're football people, and so to the fans listening in, when we talk about Jed West having 300 yards in total offense, we include the offensive line without saying, because those 300-yard personal yards, throwing and running the football, include that entire offensive line. When Ancea gets 153 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns and hauls in 3 touchdown passes, and he's one of 5 receivers, it seems like every week it's somebody else.
Yep.
It's not one person collecting all the the targets on the passes. We include the offensive line because it's their passing yards too. And
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, but once again, that goes back to our group of guys. They know that, they enjoy it, they embrace it, and that was, I mean, like I said, it was just all around. It was a fun game to be a part of last night for the kids, knowing what's at stake. Just as far as we got to win to keep going, because we put ourselves on hold early on in the season. But they've dug their heels in the sand and said, okay, smiled on the face of adversity and play ball.
Yep. And defensively, the long touchdown run, it's just a deal where they the blitz thing. And
guys, listen.
Yeah,
I'm a high risk, high reward
Yeah.
guy. Y'all can see that.
Right.
Everybody,
Yeah.
I'm a high risk, high reward guy.
but those things happen.
That's what I'm getting at. When we're going to play the style of defense that I'm really trying to do, like in my head, schematically, and Coach Chambers has done a tremendous job putting game plans together. Those certain things are going to happen. One of those long runs. That's, you know what? They're allowed a game plan too. They went back. They watched the Swain game and they ran old school Veer. Cool. We hadn't seen Veer since week 4. Great. But you know what? They got one run.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm getting. I'm just saying from in general, they got one run from the 15 times they tried to run it. I like my odds in that as far as like 1 out of 15. Our kids defensively bowed their neck. Our corners, Brandon Jordan, Bryant Ancea, Amos Rich last night. They played lights out for what they were asked to do in the pass game, because there were so few pass concepts they were going to run. Played lights out. I thought Amos had a pick 6 at one point. Got through it, though. I thought he was going to get it and go, which was really fun to watch, because that's only his second week playing corner. Let that sink in. He's never played defense.
Jonathan?
That's what I'm getting at. Our guys are buying into what we do and played lights out. And arguably, there's a lot of plays, but arguably one of the biggest plays of the game, 3rd and 10 with a minute to go, and their quarterback scrambles and runs. Keep in mind who I just said has only played 2 weeks of corner. Stuck his nose in there, made a tackle. The kid got the first down. Great, don't care. Because if he doesn't make the tackle, they score. We got to go hands team if anything can happen. He saved that drive to keep them on the field and have to waste the rest of the clock. Those are the situations that kind of go unseen. Down on the headsets, we're going, what a hell of a job that was. Honestly. It's just fun.
Was that the turning point in the game, or was there another play or series that sealed the victory for you against Smoky?
I think kind of the air out of the sails would have been in the 3rd quarter. Bryant was gassed and gave up a touchdown on defense, and he comes over and he's upset, and I just grabbed him and said, dude, take a deep breath. And made him take 3 deep breaths. Right? Calm down. They come down. They get back down 7. 3 plays later, he houses one for 80. That, takes the wins out of your sails. And then I know it's still the third quarter, but I'm just saying those situations are how we respond. That says so much about our kids because he was frustrated. I get it. I said, dude, we're going to ride with you. We're going to ride with all of our guys. And the touchdown was not a design play to go to him. Jed did a great job of it was a full field read. He was actually the fourth in progression. And the dig route on the backside, split the safety, and outran everybody. After 3 plays earlier, being frustrated because of what he did defensively, which once again, those things are going to happen. How do we respond? Well, we bow our neck. We come in there with our big personnel, run the ball. Okay, now spread them out and get them out of their comfort zone. Get to our fourth in progression, which at this level, I don't care what anybody says. And you can take this to the bank. There's not one high school quarterback that can get to a fourth progression in high school football in the country. Ours can.
Jonathan, you talked earlier about Smoky coming out and watching the Swain film and giving you that old school Veer look.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as successful as it was in week 4. And,
exactly.
And that I imagine you can contribute that to the guys up front, like the Jackson Suttons and the linebacker Cook. Would you talk about that, about your defensive effort to stop that?
Well, yeah, we've got multiple guys on the D line. We got guys healthy again, or once again healthy for this time of year, but back in the lineup again, and rotating them every couple plays or every series type deal, and saying, man, you're going to have to beat us throwing the football. Like that's what we made the past couple weeks. That was the mindset. You're going to have to beat us throwing it. They've done a tremendous job with that, and Coach Chambers took it personally that what happened against Swain as far as just a run game in his own, because that's what I love about him in his own. He's so competitive. And so just what we've been teaching constantly since, it showed last night that, okay, well, we weren't prepared for Veer, like just in general. But when our kids understand what we're doing and trust our process, we can stop it within the scheme. And we did, because we adjusted on the fly, changed techniques. They buy into it. Okay, cool. You bump here. Now we can stop all of it. And that's kind of how that went down last night with the whole D line, Hudson Blackburn on the linebackers, getting everybody lined up, making sure that they bump when they're supposed to bump, being the technique they're supposed to be in. It's just, like I said, it's always bittersweet being at this point in the season, because regardless of how far we go the rest of the year, it's always 1 week closer to being done with this group, and that's the bittersweet part.
The next question I was going to ask is that we're leading up into your senior night, but you have in that final road test in the regular season, evaluate or grade your senior effort, because they are your leaders.
I don't know how I can't really give them a grade, because I don't think there's a grade for it, because of the effort is off the charts right now. Not that it's not been all year, but just when you can walk in the locker room and you finally go, I don't have to say a word. All right, man, let's go do our thing. When your pregame speech lasts 30 seconds, that's a good thing. So I don't think that there's no grade that is worthy of the effort, not just from the seniors, but just in general. And then so this next Friday it's going to be obviously a great atmosphere, but really bittersweet because it's their last regular season home game at CU Weatherby.
Got it.
And one of the things that again, it's the little things that I kind of, I watch the game and do all that stuff, but I got in the habit when you were at Tennessee, especially your junior year, of just making sure that after the game that I just want to make sure where you were, and you got to the locker room.
Yeah.
That was a big deal that year.
Yeah.
And to watch how your teammates responded to you, and to watch last night, the fans, the parents, the kids, the students, the band, the way that they responded with Jed. But the thing that I just going from the sideline, because you guys stood there for a long time. Y'all were there for 10, 12 minutes before the kids and Jed went towards the locker room. And to watch Jed go and be surrounded, not that they were doing this, but this is our guy. And those guys,
because
they care
it
about each other. Unbelievable watching them walk to the locker room, watching them. You know,
I'm not being funny. Like every team always says it.
Yeah,
but they care about each other, and it's not just one individual.
Yeah,
they like genuinely care about each other in that locker room.
That was if you don't win, again, winning is a big deal. But if you don't ever win a game, to go from that walk is everything. To me, that's everything. It was unbelievable to watch the emotion and you know, like there's guys I can see, and I can mention some names. I can say David Shelton and watch Jonathan's face. I can say Daniel Anderson and watch Jonathan's face. Those guys are almost 40 years old. And if I called them, and they were Jonathan's protectors when he was a sophomore in high school, and if I called these guys and said, Jonathan needs you, they would come. And to see that last night was pretty dadgum awesome.
The one that would beat everybody is Sean Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. But I'm just saying, to watch that was pretty cool because we're going to take care of our quarterback, period.
Right.
John, that was pretty awesome.
You were talking about your dad was bringing up a point about this, where you guys are now. Has that been part of the growth of the team from the beginning of the season? That caring, that love of each other, was it there at the beginning? Or
it's always been there. But it's every season has its like I'm trying to think how to word it properly because every season has its seasons, meaning like how everybody says like life is a bunch of seasons put together.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Well, every sports season has its seasons, I guess you would say, pun intended, of where you start, whether it's the honeymoon phase or spring or whatever you want to call it. Every year is going to be that way. Then you never really know where you're going until you're hit in the face with adversity. Our kids have never folded. We've not been healthy with all of our starters all year. So we lose our starting middle linebacker 6 plays in the season. We lose our starting defensive end in April in the weight room. He's just now healthy, back to being able to play. Those things, that's part of the quote unquote season. So with everything that's happened, it's not that they've not been close, but they've really, really bought into each other, right? And I mean, it's fun. It is fun to see because of how tight they are in the school. When they're walking around the halls or they're in the lunchroom or wherever, they're always together. And I know a lot of places are like that, but I can only speak for us.
Right.
But that's really cool because it doesn't matter. Now they're brothers. Brothers are going to get in disagreements, right? In that sense. Not that they're arguing and fighting. I'm just saying, but like there's always going to be hard times. Practice is supposed to be tough. I'm going to tell you, Alex Caldwell, he made Josh Kruger's life hell at practice this past week. That's what I mean by like brothers can have disagreements. That was phenomenal because it made us better for last night. That's the stuff that we really started to do really well the past month.
You had mentioned earlier and we all agree, you are a high risk, high reward type coach. At times when your defensive coordinator wants to be high risk, does he give you that sheepy look and like, can I do this? Or do you just say, go be?
No. He knows I trust him with everything. If he calls it, all right, man, let's go do it. I got his back. He's got my back.
Got it.
There was a time last night, and this is what I'm saying, like the communication. 2 specific instances last night. We go to it's 4th and 13, I think, early on, and I'm going, guys, we're gonna punt it, penalty, play the field position. He walks by and goes, "Go for it, I got it." Chambers did. He goes, "We're ready, but go for it." Cool, let's do it. Go for it, get it, end up scoring on the drive. The last offensive drive, we're going, and it's 4th and 13. We're just trying to waste the clock, trying to get them to use timeouts. Excuse me. And then it was, he goes, "Coach, go for this. Go for it. Just throw a go ball." And I was like, guys, I want to put you in a situation of make them go the field. I was like, we're gonna punt it, and we weren't in the best position to punt because kicking the end zone, we're only gaining 5 or 6 yards. And so the communication of Sluder in our headset, he goes, "Coach, take the delay, save us 5 yards, take the delay, then punt it." I was like, you know what? Great idea. We're going to take a delay and end up punting it. Yeah, it looked like they got a return. They got a block in the back, so it looked like they got a return. And next thing you know, with 3 minutes to go, with a team that is not used to doing a 2-minute drill, now has to go 95 yards.
Right.
But those communication situations in big moments of the game, there's no screaming and yelling of what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. So I guess to answer your question is, if he calls it, I trust it. If I call it, he trusts it. That's the fun part about our staff is everybody's on the same page.
You know, you get the a bad rap of not telling people things, you know, but that's the kind of communication fans like me want to hear. What transpired? Because I tell you, your fans are now, look at them. They're talking amongst each other, strategizing. That's
because I'm telling you, we communicate very well for everybody. Derek Bradshaw on the box on the defensive side of the ball headset, giving us as soon as they step on the field, so-and-so's in, so-and-so's out, so-and-so's in, so-and-so's out. Because sometimes it's hard to see across the field if they don't come all the way into the huddle, right?
Right.
That stuff, Houston, always in my ear. Hey, you got 25 on the clock. Hey, they're in the 30 front. Hey, 15. Those things to where I'm not having to look at the clock every time. And he's up there, and he's like, hey, we got, 9:25 left in the quarter. Those things. All right, hey, we're down to 1:05 in the quarter. Just nothing crazy, but just the last little tidbit. Hey, they're bumping the outside backer out, when they're bumping the overhang, and they're splitting the difference between number 2 and number 3, or hey, he's shaded inside now. That's the stuff, and you don't have to freak out. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to scream and yell about what's going on. We talk to each other very well as a staff. And the kids see it. We communicate well. Yes, it's football. You're going to get high strung. But the high strungness is because we're competitive.
You? A little high strung?
Well, hey, listen.
You? Chucky just told a lie.
No, but I'm just but just in general, I don't have to go out here and make a scene and all this stuff to get our players fired up anymore. That's the fun part.
When you speak of Coach Bradshaw, can I ask how he always ends up every week with a whole pizza after the game?
Well, everybody does.
No, but I watch him.
I know.
He's hilarious.
Everybody.
He's walking around with his pizza, and he offers me. He's like I'm Mikey in that commercial when I was a kid. You want some?
I get on the bus last night, and there's
hilarious.
3 pizzas sitting in my seat, and I was like, guys, what are we doing? There's 3 whole pizzas. What? I can't eat 3 pizzas.
Yes, you can.
But it's really. And I keep saying it's just fun being around this group, around our staff,
And that's
our principal and our administrators show up to every game. There's just it's trending in the most positive direction I could have ever wanted.
Jonathan, I do want to ask this, and I made no bones about it. He was my guy from the beginning of the season. But we can talk about Jed West all you want. But when Bryant Ancia. I won't get it right before the end of the season. Ancia. When Ancia has the game that he had last night, 3 touchdown passes, contributed 21 points, 18 points to the win. and he hauls in 153 yards receiving in a high school game. Obviously, there was something there, whether mismatch or what they were doing. And I know you don't want to go into it, but you exploited something with Ancier.
Well, and like I said, the plan was to not get in the personnel that we were in for most of the game.
Right.
The positive is that we in-game adjust. Our kids trust what we tell them because they know we're not just going to say stuff just to say it. They bought in. I'm talking about they are in a good way emotional for each other. And they fight tooth and nail. Yeah, we're big, but we're also scrappy, and it's actually fun to watch. You have the identity of a big team, but you also have the identity of a small, scrappy team while being big. That's a good thing. And just like the O-line played phenomenal last night, so they were able to let us play action to take our shots when we needed them. When we do that, our running back standing there and picking up a backer right up the gut or off the edge and not wavering at all, just taking on the chin, give them an extra half a second to make the throw. That's what happened. And I know the whole O-line played really well. Charles Kruger, every time they blitzed on from the edge, he was able to get out.
And I did notice that was that they were bringing the extra guy.
They were going to make us beat him through it, and by God, we did.
It's simple. But the kids did such a great job. I noticed your running backs too. Chip going out there and taking the blitz on and understanding where it was coming from,
because they understand what we're telling them. But the job that's the hardest, and our two guards, every guard that has to do this is the hardest job. Jackson Sutton and then Odie Garrido, when they go with 30 front and they blitz right up the A gap, you just got to sit there and just take it on the chin. And by God, Odie took it on the chin and played his guts out last night, and just pulling in the run game. Or when we go counter with him, taking A gap blitzes right in the face and just nothing. That was fun.
He and Sutton, and you see the improvement. And that's as the years going on.
You give me 100 Odies.
Let me ask you something.
Just from the mentality and the want for football, we'd be good. No, I'm wrong. I love every kid, but I always tell Odie, you're my guy. Like he's just he has the want, but he's undersized for a lineman. But by God, you'd never know it. I promise you that you would never know it.
He played blind last week, right?
Yeah,
not the whole game.
Glasses on? Did he have his glasses on last night?
They good thing is there was not a pair of glasses thrown my way, so they stayed on.
You're going to miss Jackson, and you're going to miss Odie.
Yep.
But hey, let's kind of move on real quick here, because as big as last week was, this week was bigger.
Mm-hmm.
As big as this week was.
Well, yeah, because like I said, we put ourselves in a hole.
Here we go.
We have to play well. We got to do what we got to do.
And Chuck and I have said all year, more me than anybody else, that we knew that everything was going to go through Mills River.
Right.
Well, here we go. Here we are. You can't ask for anything more to play in a game that means. I don't know that it means everything, but it's pretty darn close, because I don't know how all this works.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, at stake this week.
Yeah.
So bottom line is we just got to go. We'll start game planning today. We just got to play our game. That's what we've done the past couple of weeks. They're a great team. Everybody knows that. Troy Manuel is arguably the best player in the conference. Everybody knows that. Right? But you know what? I love and trust our guys, and that's all we can do. We're going to go out there and we're going to play. We're going to have schematics where they need to be, and we're going to go out there on senior night and let the chips fall where they fall.
Let me ask this question, Jonathan. This is important as we look ahead to postseason. What do you have to have happen on Friday night for you to be comfortably in a position to make the playoffs?
Play our game.
Okay, but I mean,
No,
But that's
no, he's asking about.
I know that.
Okay.
That's my answer. Just play our game because I can't worry about that until after the game.
right.
But we don't know how the scenario.
Yeah, I do, but I don't want to get into them because I just want to go play our game. Like, I mean, I'm not being rude. That's
No,
just what it is.
You want total focus on your game. I get it. Tuesday we'll discuss it, you and I, on the
Yeah,
day.
but you're gonna have, because I don't know anything. I asked. It was hilarious. I saw Casey Connor after the game last night, and I just said, "Hey, do you know what the scenario is?" And he looked me dead in the eye and said, "You know more than I know." And I said, "I know nothing." He said, "Okay, we're on the same page." Because I just, so I don't know.
Speaking of him, on a side note, it's always fun walking off the field and being able to see your principal down there just congratulating people like that. That's a good thing.
Well, I do know that, to some of the critics that were talking about, well, I hope Chuck gets the information out of the CIA operative and everything. I'll see, but increase. I looked right.
Hey, I've given you a lot today.
Listen, no, yes, you have, but
he gets closer to the camera. I love that.
I'm giving you a lot. I just didn't give you what you wanted.
But that's exactly right. You are right. But I told the guy, I said, look, you're assuming he doesn't tell us. Let me tell you something. We know a lot what's going on, maybe all, but we just don't tell you because that's the way you want it. So if we know, and as a Tuscola Football Network show, we're not going to give the enemy, fodder. We're not going to help them with their game plan. So he said, you mean to tell me you knew this stuff? And I said, maybe we do and maybe we don't. And then I thought, dang, I'm starting to sound like Jonathan. Or John. I'm starting to sound like Johnny.
You're like my niece. You've been hanging out with me way too long.
So looking forward to Friday night. We need to fill CE Weatherby up. We need to get there early. Again, if you're going to beat me there, and I hope somebody can beat me there, 4:00 you're late.
Avery's beat you every game.
Yeah. So
my niece beats him every game.
So we need the same enthusiasm. We need the same number of people as we had for Pisgah. This is big, and this is what you work for. It's like that old film when the Giants won that first Super Bowl back with Bill Parcells, and he leaned down and he looked at his offensive line and he says, "This is what you lift all them weights for." Well, this Friday night is what you guys have done since you got there in April. Everything comes down to this. Get to CE Weatherby. Please get there.
But it is more come support our seniors.
Yes.
That have given everything they've got to this school and program.
And been through so much. COVID.
Yeah. And just I mean
everything.
Yes, obviously I want you guys there to support the team, but they deserve this. They do.
That's
absolutely.
I do look at the fact, I do thank Smoky for something, is that weeks ago, Smoky hosted West Henderson, and it took a late touchdown in the fourth quarter for West Henderson to walk away with a 7-point victory over Smoky at Smoky Mountain. And here you come rolling in last night and played just as good of a game and walked away with a 13-point win. It tells me, as good as West Henderson is, right now the Tuscola Mountaineers are on par with the Falcons.
I mean, I'll let y'all speculate that. Bottom line is they're 9-0. We're 5-4. Right? They're a great team. Not much we can do about it. We're gonna go to work and give it everything we got. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Our kids have got to use PG language, have busted their butt all year. Some breaks have not fallen our way. It's football. We haven't wavered. Our kids haven't wavered. So they're going to be the heavily favored team. All this stuff, great. it is what it is in that sense. We're just trying to go out there and play our game and play the best we can play and let the chips fall where they fall because, bottom line is you got to be the best team on that day. That's what counts. They've been the best team on that day every game they played so far.
Right.
So, we'll go out here and we'll game plan and we'll be ready. It'll be senior night. Our kids will be fired up for that. Our fans will be fired up for that. And, like I said, let the chips fall where they fall because, I trust our kids. I trust our kids with our system, with what we do on, offense, defense, special teams. So it's just a matter of going out there and doing it. But we got a long week ahead. It's just Saturday. But, for coaches, our week starts today.
Got it.
So let's do this. It's the third Saturday in October, and Penn State and Ohio State are playing.
Ain't nobody care about that game.
Well, we got to talk about it. Penn State and Ohio State. Just real. I'm going to take Penn State.
Ohio State.
Oh, I can't believe you just said that. You're going to take Ohio State?
Yeah, and here's why, though. When your head coach says never mind, I'll stop. No, because I like Franklin.
Yes.
But
who are you taking? I got
Ohio State.
Okay.
But God, it hurts me to say because
All right.
hold on. We just going to win or we covering the spread?
No, we're not doing the spread thing because you and Chuck go berserk and y'all are crazy.
You know what? No, screw it. Let's go Penn State. I'm switching.
Okay. Now
let's do it. Let's go James Franklin.
Chuck is up in Michigan with his family at the wedding, and most of that side of the family are Spartans, and I'm sure that he has harassed and messed with them. I say Michigan big over the Spartans today.
Yeah.
Michigan right now, Chuck, as we talk about this on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Michigan right now to me, and I'm an SEC guy, Michigan's the best team in the country today. They're better than anybody playing, in my opinion. I got Michigan big.
Well, I'll be real quick in that this is a rivalry where these intense rivalries where your elation reaches the peak in victory, but it is the same level that it reaches in pain when you lose in a rivalry. And you shake hands and you move on. In this rivalry, Michigan State, is that it does reach, great elation, victory, and great pain and loss and defeat, but they don't shake hands after. They don't shake hands. Remember last year, they had 9 Michigan State players waiting for Michigan to come in the tunnel because they weren't finished with them. This is a very dirty, angry, bitter rivalry. So, but I think after the news of this week, and suddenly it comes out this week, and the story was broken by a Michigan State journalism graduate and former Michigan State beat writer, and I'm thinking, this week, really? This is happening? This is coming out about science?
What was the Michigan State guy? Yeah.
They would suspend me from any sport because I know how to steal signs. And I probably say, yeah, I stole your signs. If you're dumb enough just to go out there and give them, and I'm sitting there watching, and I'll figure out in one series I can have who your live sign giver is.
Well, I think because they're still every staff at that level and above has a person on staff that their job on game day is to steal signs.
Exactly.
But I think it's the
electronics.
Well, and you can't. From my understanding, it's not illegal for that level. I don't know, but I guess what I've read was they were sending people to future opponents' games. I have no idea. It's just what I glanced at an article headline. I don't know the NCAA rules, but I can tell you on game day, everybody at that level. Ours was Jim Bob Cooter. He was our sign stealer in college.
He was genius.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like that, everybody does it at that level because everybody signals.
Right.
All right,
on game day, it's not illegal. So I don't know what the whole story behind it is.
Winner. Give me the winner.
Michigan.
I'm Michigan by like 30.
Okay.
Like I think they're pissed off.
All right. There is a big game about 22 miles from here today. And we're going to get to the third Saturday in October before we get off here. But over in Cullowhee, North Carolina, The number 14 ranked Catamounts are playing the number 4 ranked Paladins from Furman. Basically, I believe for the Southern Conference Championship in the first round bye in the playoffs. The excitement is in the air. The excitement was in the air last night out there. It's good to see and hear people talk about Catamount football. I'm going to go Western, and I don't. Furman does not want to get in a shootout with the Catamounts. Furman wants to do kind of what Swain did with us, and it's just going to pound the ball, get a run, and do those things. But I say Western's going to win the football game. They proved a lot to me in Chattanooga 2 weeks ago before the open week with that 90-something yard drive with less than 30 seconds to go. I got Western over Furman in a massive, massive game in the Southern Conference. Go Cats.
I got Western in a shootout because Furman, you don't want to go in a shootout, but you're going to get into a shootout. I don't see Furman stopping Western's offense. So
No.
It's a shootout. If Furman, as the 4th ranked team in the nation and 1AA, is going to win this game and show that they deserve that 4th seed or that 4th ranking, then they're going to have to score with Western. And Western's proven they can score on anybody. And they're playing for something. They are playing for something major that hasn't happened in 3-4 decades.
Pretty big.
Western big.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Until Western actually gets their head out of their ear and recruits Western North Carolina players, a.k.a. at Tuscola, go Furman. Yep. I got dudes on my team that can play there, and they won't give us a call back. Go Furman.
There you go.
Now,
I told you, I got my kids back regardless. Let's go. Get off your butt, make a phone call, because I got kids right now that can help that program. And I can't get a phone call back. Or 35 minutes away. It's fine. Go Furman.
And Tuscaloosa, Alabama, one of the darkest days in my life. But that's another story. Tennessee and Alabama, both teams have a lot to play for. They're still in this. Mm-hmm. Early on, people kind of said Alabama was done. Well, I am not the biggest fan of Nick Saban at all. But you got to give the dude credit.
They're always there.
They're there. And man, our guy is building something pretty special over here in Knoxville, and it's beautiful to see. And he has his attitude and the way he carries himself is just it is fun to see. Playing first of all, it's the CBS game, so there's a lot of stoppage. I think the stoppage is a disadvantage when the Vols have the football, because all these commercials, the 3:30 kickoff, and you're not going to be done till almost 8 o'clock. So defensively, Tennessee's a lot better. I think that our quarterback's better than their quarterback. I'm going to say the Vols in a very close game. I don't know how many points are going to be scored, but I think you're going to. But I think Tennessee can go down there and get that thing and get right back in the conversation to go to the playoffs. Close game, Tennessee. Go Vols. VFL.
Well, I like Saban, and I like Alabama. And until, Tennessee had a great game last year, but that was last year. They had Hendon Hooker. I'm not a Milton fan. I know exactly what his weaknesses are, and so does Saban. I have Alabama by 2 touchdowns.
See, I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, personally. I think it's a 21-17, 17-14 game. No, Joe's not playing well overall. Hard part to argue with. It's either 7 or 8-1 as a starter in Knoxville.
Right.
Now, granted, Virginia's those games, but still got to win them. I don't think Milroe has proven himself at Alabama. So I think it's a defensive battle. I got Tennessee by 3. Like in a low scoring, like not a 40-37, but like a 21-18, 21-17, 17-14 type game. Just for defensive battle today.
Well,
Which makes the CBS game even more boring.
Well, rising up the charts is those Elma College Scots. Undefeated.
There we go, baby.
Play at home against the Kalamazoo College Hornets.
Love it.
I'm going to take it. Elma College will score over 60 points today.
I don't care. About 100.
There you go.
Kilts up, baby. Kilts up.
Kilts up. I got Elma College big today.
So we're gonna get off here. Chuck, hang around for just a minute when we're done. Please get out to CE Weatherby, and like Coach said, let's honor these seniors because this group
they've been through a lot.
They've been through a whole lot, and you've thrown a whole lot of stuff at them since April, and just it's amazing to me to see and the seniors' parents in those sweatshirts I saw last night. That's pretty special to, and that was just it's really cool. So get out there, plan for something. Because to be honest with you, the last 3 weeks have been playoff games.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is a playoff game. So get out there and let's make it loud. And thank you, everybody. So we'll see everybody next Saturday morning on the Jonathan Crompton Show. Chuck will be back in Winston-Salem, and he'll have his orchard coffee. And I'll have my orchard coffee and a trinket or two from Sutton and Sons. And come buy a vehicle from us because, Copper and Isabel, Ben, and Milo got to eat. So thank you guys. Your support has been unbelievable. Let's go get them. Go Mountaineers. See everybody next week.
Have a good week.
Have a good week.